So today I will be telling you the story of when I had no friends in high school, which was junior year. So freshman year, I had two good friends. One of them ended up dropping from the school and going to another one, and the second one still hung around. We were pretty tight. And then towards the end of freshman year, we kind of got like a group together because of one class. And then sophomore year, had this whole group. We were banging. And then one of them decided to move to Germany. Well, not decided, they kind of were forced to, but sucked. So when they moved to Germany, we still tried to keep tight. Except junior year hit, and for some reason, the one who was like my best friend of the group decided she wasn't going to talk to me anymore, which sucked. So I started hanging out with two other girls that were part of the group, and also turns out that, I forgot when, it was probably sophomore year or sometime, two of the best friends of the group decided to split, and so that sucked. Since I was talking to one of the girls, the other girl decided that she wasn't going to talk to me anymore or something, or not really talk to me anymore. So it was just three of us. Me, Charla, and Dasha. Your name is Dasha now. So I have known Charla since maybe the 7th grade. She talked to me in 8th grade, like the very first day of 8th grade, like I knew her in 7th grade. So maybe I did. I don't really remember. So me and Charla were part of the original group. Dasha was the best friend that got pretty much added into the group during sophomore year. And we were cool, we were tight, I thought, until one day we used to eat lunch together. So I was waiting for Dasha and Charla in our typical spot, and the late bell for lunch rings. I was just like, cool, okay. Checking our text messages and nothing. And then I see Charla. And I was like, hey, Charla. And she's like, hi. And then she just leaves right out the front doors. And I was like, what? So then I'm like, okay, maybe she has to go or something. So then I'm like waiting around for Dasha. And then I'm looking through the front windows of the school, and I see Dasha and Charla. So then I leave the school, and I was like walking towards them, like, what the heck? Are we meeting here instead? And nobody told me. I'm like, I just saw Charla. Why didn't she tell me? And so Dasha walks up to me, and she's like, hey, my brother's gonna pick me and Charla up for lunch because he's gonna go out with his girlfriend, and he wanted me to go because he was gonna take me to lunch, but I don't want to be by myself, so I invited Charla, and there's not like room in the car for you. And I was like, okay, cool, I understand that. And oh, I remember, this was homecoming week. It was a Friday of homecoming week, I believe. I think. It was very early on into the junior year. And so then I walk away, and I'm like super pissed. Like super pissed because I don't care that you and Charla are hanging out without me. You just let me know when we have plans and you decide to go do something else. Like, I freaking hate that. So I was pissed. And so the next day, I think it might have been the next day, I didn't go to school. And I didn't tell them. So it was a stupid little revenge thing. This is one of the reasons why I don't do revenge. It's so unsatisfying. It's so unsatisfying. And Dasha had to do some work, so she wasn't gonna go to lunch. So Charlotte was like, "Hey, okay, it's just gonna be me and you." And I was like, I don't think I responded. And then lunch came around, and she was like, "Where are you?" I don't think I responded again until like hour or so, or really later. I was like, "Oh, I didn't go to school today." I was like, I felt ugly too doing that. Like I felt so ugly and disgusting. But I wanted to get them back because they had basically done something like that to me, except they weren't going to tell me. They were just going to leave and not even tell me that we weren't doing lunch. So it was already like when I figured that out, it was like lunch was halfway over. And so no, I don't think it was an hour later. I think it was like maybe 10 minutes because I felt so disgusting. And then we kind of stopped talking. They stopped hanging out with me, and I was like, "Hey, I feel like you guys don't want to hang out with me anymore." I don't remember exactly what I told them, something like that. And Charlotte didn't say anything, but Dasha had the nerve to tell me that honestly, there's something wrong with me, or I'm the one that's causing problems, or I'm the one that doesn't want to hang out with them anymore. Something similar to that. And I was like, can you basically drop examples? Like, what are you talking about? They didn't respond. Neither of them responded. Dasha surely didn't have anything to say because her one example was gonna be my. I had one to combat it immediately. Also, Dasha. Um, there was also this time before that. It was either before or after. We were supposed to spend the night at Dasha's house, and I show up, and she doesn't answer the door. Another girl answers the door, someone from her school in a bathing suit, and because Dasha had a pool, she was like, "Oh, Dasha's not here right now. She went with her grandma." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "I don't know when she'll be back." I was like, that's not even a good lie. And so then I leave, I go home, and I guess my mom knew that something was up because she dropped me off, but she didn't leave. So I got back in the car, and I was like super freaking upset. I was so upset that I was like near tears, crying. And that was another situation where Dasha didn't tell me that we weren't having the sleepover, and neither did Charla because Charla didn't show up. I was actually, I think I was a little bit late, and Charla didn't even show up. So then Dasha sends you this message or something because I sent her something like, "Why didn't you tell me that we weren't doing it?" She's like, "Well, usually you text when you're on your way, and you didn't." I was like, "But you already made plans." So then I check on her Snap, I think, and she's got these videos with these two other friends of hers in a pool. And then I check on those other two friends, and it was like right before I got there was the last update. So they already had plans. I'm assuming she made plans over the sleepover because I think we were talking about the sleepover 1 or 2 days before it happened. And I'm assuming she just didn't want to hang out anymore. Which, I don't care if you don't want to hang out with me anymore. You just need to tell me. I'm like getting so frustrated. Anyway, so then we didn't talk to each other anymore. And I could tell that they felt, well, I think they felt guilty because the way that I work is if I have to still work with you business wise, or I have to talk to you like the teacher tells me to teach you something or show you someplace, I'm gonna do it in the most professional manner I can. I remember they needed to ask me something, but they didn't want to ask me because they did me dirty. And this was later on in the year. This was actually not later on in the year. This was still. No, this was around October, I think. This was actually not in October, and the reason why I thought it was because they were dressed up in like costumes, but the reason they were dressed in costumes was because of senior week. So this was actually towards the end of the school year. And I was just like, yada, yada, yada. And Charlotte was like, but Dasha was like in the back, like, dang, like she was super freaked. And basically what I had done is I ate lunch alone for basically that entire year. I did it in the library because in our library you were allowed to eat in there. And I just sat there. Occasionally people would ask me like, hey, you want to sit at my table? But I didn't really feel comfortable joining in someone else's group because it's a pity invite. Sometimes I'd accept it, but it's a pity invite. Let's be honest. But I did try sitting. There was one time where I tried sitting in this quiet kids table and I was just like yada yada. And then I sat at that same table the next day and I saw this, after lunch when I threw my tray, I saw the quiet kid was sitting at a different. Sorry about that. Okay. Quiet kid sitting at another table and I was like, they don't want to sit with me. Okay. So then I stopped eating in the cafeteria. That's when I really stopped eating in the cafeteria and I just started eating in the library because people tended to not bug me as much in the library. And I would just sit there and read a book and eat. And it was actually pretty cool because this one time, this girl walked in because she was, I guess, by herself for lunch because she had to take a test or something. So she had missed all her friends going to lunch. And she sat at my table. And we talked. It was pretty chill. Walked her to her class. Or walked her on our way to class. I don't remember her name. Which sucks. Really just sucks. So if you're watching this, hit me up. Because I just want to know how you're doing. Which is kind of funny because also when we took the SAT, I think, that year, she was in my class. So, and I recognized her and I was just like, hi. But I walked away also. And then she like looked at me and she was like, hi. But then she did like a double take. She turned all the way back around because she sat in the front of my row and I sat in the back. So when I went to my seat, she like turned back around and she's like, hi. I guess she recognized me, which is pretty cool. And, well, to be honest, I saw a couple videos today of people who are older than I am and don't have any friends. And I can imagine how that would reflect in the adulter, not the adulter, in the adult life. And I wanted to say that I was friendless in high school, having had a friend group, to just having close friends, to just having no friends. And then my senior year, I made a lot of friends and very close people, and I was really living life, I guess. So I've been in different circles of friendships and relationship statuses. And I wanted to say that it's a lot easier when you learn to spend time with yourself, even if you're in a public place. It's so much. I'm kind of glad that I lost my friends that year because later on in that summer, I went to a camp, basically, I guess, and I was by myself. I didn't know anybody. It was in a different state. And it was National Selfie Day, and so the announcer, the MC was like, everybody stand up and take a picture. Nobody did it except for me. Because by then I had already knew how to stand alone, how to stand by myself. Now I have friends and I have people that I could go to if I wanted. But that junior year I really learned how to stand by myself, how I can be strong even if I'm the only one in my corner. You only really need one person to believe in you, even if that person is yourself. So that's all I really wanted to say. If you made it this far, drop a black heart in the comments. Yeah. Bye.